The dragon build. The dragon priest build. This is way too good, man. It takes a lot of time to get this build right. If you're playing on new game, no pluses, right? Just new game, okay? If you're playing on new game, it takes a lot of time to get this build going. It takes a lot of unlocking of spells and stuff like that, and finding them in the open world, and fighting bosses to get to them and stuff like that. Especially the dragons, you need to beat pretty much all the dragons, especially Exekis in the keep forgetting the names, so bad with names. So anyway, you need to get Exekis killed, who's in Kaled, and then you get the Rot spell, and then you have to go all the way here in the mountain tops of the giants, and it's in this big ass lake here that you need to get Borealis and get him done as well, get him killed, and you then get Borealis's mist. Okay, who the f is that? Oh, so anyway, you need to get Borealis's mist, and now you're able to cast this, which applies frost, and frost is the second best status ailments in the game. Okay, number one is the Rot. The Rot continuously does damage to 90%, even 95% of all the enemies you can have in Elden Ring. Okay, 95%. That's crazy. 95% of all the enemies in Elden Ring you can just kill by applying Rot to them and not hitting them ever again in the fight. Okay. If you need to get them if you need to get it applied again, it's probably because they are a boss and they have a lot of HP. So you can just do this 3 or 4 times a fight. Apply it 3 or 4 times a fight, I mean. Make sure you stay alive, and you get the boss killed. That's it. That is it. That is crazy. That is crazy. Okay? So you don't get to tell me any other builds work not nearly as good as this one. Okay, all the builds you can get that are melee, you need to go in and actually fight. Okay, you need to go in and do something, right? You need to swish and swash and slash at them and charge your attacks and do this and do that and do this and do that. No, okay, this takes skill. Okay, with this build, guys, with this build, the Dragon Priest, there is no skill, right? This is the lowest skill gap you can possibly get in Elden Ring, maybe apart from the Sorcerer builds, because the Sorcerer builds are crazy good as well. But the Sorcerer builds, guys, take a lot of FP, which is the mana. Let's just call it mana, because everybody knows, everybody who plays games, even people that don't play games, know that mana is the resource that you need in order to cast spells. Okay, so if you wanna, if you don't want to run out of stamina, also if you don't want to be squishy as hell, and you get like 2-3 shotted from every single enemy, especially bosses, right? Especially bosses. You need to get yourself a Dragon Priest build. I cannot stress this enough. I cannot stress this enough. The most important thing to be a good Dragon Priest is to get these. You need to get the game completed once, right? You need to bear through the pain and suffering of getting the game completed once, especially the first half of the game, especially around the 70-80 level mark. Need to get this item, which is from the first dungeon when you go out of the tutorial base, right? There is a dungeon that you need to unlock with the key that you need to insert in these like goblin heads or whatever it was. So that's the first dungeon on your. It's on your right when you go up the elevator. Okay. You won't be able to access it straight up, but as soon as you get a key, or I think it was 2 keys, you then go insert it in those goblin heads or whatever it was. You're then able to access the dungeon and you get this seal, which is a Dragon Communion seal. Your #1 priority as an item is this one, because this allows you to cast incantations, and it boosts your Dragon Communion incantations, guys. Okay, so it provides you with a boost of all your dragon-based spells. Okay, now I can get more into detail on this build, which I will in a second, but as a start, this is what you need to do. You need to start fresh, you need to start from level 1, you need to up your vigor, you need to up your arcane, because this seal scales as an S rating, which is the highest rating possible for scaling. It scales from arcane. Okay, so you need arcane and vigor as a priority, right? Then as a second priority, you get fate. It also boosts your overall damage output from spells and incantations, and also gets your FP. Am I right in this? I think I'm right with this. I think the fate increases your FP, as well as, I think it was discovery. Was it discovery? And your defenses and damage negation, but that's pretty much from all the attributes you can get, and your resistances. Your resistance as well. Yeah. So your resistance as well from fate. Okay, so vigor and arcane as a priority, fate second priority, and as you can see, mind. Okay, so mind I think was 4 FP specifically. So mind is a third priority. Endurance probably fourth, because maybe on par with mind, because you need that stamina, especially as you get more into the higher levels. You need more endurance, because stamina, as you can see, you can, oh, not now, but in a fight with an enemy, when your stamina goes low, okay, you need this endurance to be able to have more stamina to run and roll and dodge. Okay, as you probably, so if you watch this so far, if you watch my fight with Godric, I am not using parry. Even if I allow them to get close enough to me, or maybe if I allow myself to go too close to them, to the enemies, I very rarely use parry. This build is not aimed at exchanging blows like this, and your enemy hits you and you parry, and then you perfect parry, and then you do a charge attack, and then you do a critical hit. No, this build is not about this. This build, if you focus on this, and if you try and get good at this with using a Dragon Priest build, this is just not good. This is not how you will achieve and succeed with this build. This build is all about being far away enough to be able to cast your lightning spears, which also scale with your overall arcane and fate, and you get more damage from the dragon seal, from the Dragon Communion seal. And if they get close enough, or for the times you want to get close enough, you then cast Exeki's Decay as a priority. Okay, you're not going to be able to start off with Exeki's Decay, because this is in Kalit, and this you need to get a really bad dragon killed in order to get that spell. Okay, so your first skill incantation would be, let me just go there, incantations. Okay, so the first ones you'll actually have access to are going to be, let me show you, where are they? I think this was one of the first you're able to get. Was it the beast? I think it was this one. So you're able to go to the first Dragon Sanctuary, or whatever its name was, which I think it was here, Church of the Dragon Communion. So this is very close to the starting point of the game. This is basically the starting point of the game. You need to go down to this beach. You need to go into this cavern here, into this cave. You then go through it. I think there was a boss, but the boss was fairly easy to kill. Well, obviously not on level 1, but I think you need to get like a couple of levels down the line, and then go and cross this coastal cave here, beat the boss. You then arrive at the Church of the Dragon Communion. You're able to actually buy dragon spells, okay? And the first ones you're able to access, are these. Well, not the Gil's Flame, not this one, but I think all of those are the special ones from the dragons. Let me try and find where exactly those were. I think this honed bolt. This was one of the first you can get. Catch Flame is another one that is very, very useful in the beginning, but bear in mind that this is something that you need to be very, very close to the enemies you're fighting with in order to catch this, to cast the spell properly and actually do damage. The Flame Sling is very good. It's kind of a area. It's a long range, well, mid range spell. It has a small area of effect damage, as far as I remember, and I haven't particularly used all of those that much. But Catch Flame in the beginning is going to be very good, and you need to get as many dragon incantations possible as you can from the beginning, and the flame ones adjust according to how you feel your gameplay is better, in order to get acclimated with this build and overall this play style. And then as you progress, as you go up the levels, make sure you get a bleed damage weapon that causes blood loss buildup. In the passive effects there you can see you need to get a blood loss weapon. The main reason why is because blood loss is the most effective way to kill your enemies quickly if you're not that tanky. If you're not doing a tanky build, if you're doing a build that relies at least to some degree on melee, especially in the first part of the game, in the first half of the game, blood loss build up is what you need. So the first couple of weapons you get your hands on that cause blood loss, especially if they are not heavy weapons, if they are katana, or if they are a one-handed sword, or even something like this, maybe let's say something like, let me go here. If it's something like a dagger, I think it was the Reduvia. If you get a Reduvia in the beginning, that's also really good because it causes blood loss 70, which is great, especially because of the fact that this is not upgraded at all. It has attribute scaling from arcane and dexterity. You may want to try upping your dexterity a bit in the beginning, maybe up to about, I would say, just about 13, 14 in order to actually be able to use that dagger. And then just apply blood loss. Apply blood loss and use your weapon skills. That's my recommendation for maybe up to level 30, 40, something like that. So after this, what you need to do is you need to upgrade your Dragon Communion seal. The second you obtain it, focus on a weapon that you like that has blood loss upgraded as well. Find an armor set that suits you in terms of your equip load. You definitely don't want to go heavy. This build is not at all aimed at having a heavy load. I would not say, I would not recommend having an below medium. What was the word below medium? I would say that I recommend you to run with medium load, because you do not want to be too squishy. Okay, this is not a sorcerer that focuses entirely on damage. This is a build that is balanced. Okay, so focus on going on medium as a load and adjust your armor according to that. In terms of trinkets, talismans and stuff like that, It's obviously going to change upon how you actually play the game. I am running it aggressively. As you can see, I'm using the Radagon Source Seal, which greatly raises my attributes, but then also increases the damage taken, and that's actually quite a lot. But for that part, that's the main reason why I have this talisman equipped as well, which enormously boosts my physical damage negation. Because of the fact that this build is prone to get blasted from physical damage, and I rely on not being hit by enemies, I have a kind of a protection from this by using this talisman. If I'm fighting a boss that has relies particularly or entirely on spells and has a big spell damage output, like Renala, for example, I would obviously then change this to a talisman which has a boost to my magical damage negation. But that's pretty obvious. Again, you need to adjust according to the enemy, to the boss you're fighting. You need to adjust your talismans. But the ones I'm not letting go at all of are Radagon Source Seal, which is accessible fairly early on in the game. There's a lot of videos on YouTube that you can access that are going to show you how to get to it fairly easy and fairly early on in the game. I use my Roar Medallion because I read upon the internet not too long ago that this actually increases the damage of your dragon spells, such as the Exeki's Decay and stuff like that, because it's technically a breath attack, because the dragon actually breathes that spell out. And then Phlox Canvas, which is taken from a quest line that is available around the middle of the game. If you are interested how to get to that, just type in Phlox Canvas Talisman on Google, how to get it. It's quite simple to get to that quest line. You need to complete the quest line in order to get the Phlox Canvas Talisman. Okay, so now that we've went through fairly extensively through the build, you now know why I play this and how I play this, and the kind of the thoughts and logic behind this. So let's just continue on with the game. I'm gonna spend